The Shelly 1 Mini is hands down the cheapest, smallest way to make any standard light switch smart. It's a genius little device. It's also by far the easiest Shelly to completely destroy in the first 10 minutes of opening the box. Today we are covering the 5 exact mistakes that fry these units or blow breakers or leave you in the dark, plus the single software setting almost everyone gets wrong. Get these right and this device will last for years. Get them wrong and you've just bought yourself a tiny plastic paperweight. And the mistake number 1. It happens before you even open your wallet, and it usually ends up people tearing their wall switch back open a week later because a feature they expected just isn't there. And if you bought this Shelly 1 Mini device expecting to track your daily energy usage or see how many watts your appliance is pulling, you actually bought the wrong device. The Shelly 1 Mini does not have power metering, and if you need consumption tracking, you need a 1 PM Mini, and that extra PM literally stands for power metering. And here I have just a 1 PM. That's not mini, but the same thing here. So it's a red device. However, the standard 1 Mini has a massive superpower that 1 PM does not have, and it is called dry contacts. On most smart relays, the power going into the device is automatically rolled to the power coming out, but the Shelly 1 Mini acts as a completely isolated switch. So you can see the terminals marked I and O are input and output, and they are physically separated from the device's own power sources. So this means that you can power the Shelly with 230 volts AC mains, but use those dry contacts to switch a 12-volt garage door trigger, a low-voltage heating circuit, or a completely separate electrical phase altogether. And if you try doing that with the 1 PM, you will instantly short-circuit your system. Know what you need. You just need to know what you need. What are your needs before buying these devices? So, mistake number 2 is the single bigger installation killer in older homes in Europe, especially in the parts of the UK. So you pull your light switch out of the wall, open your shiny new Shelly, and you realize one thing: you actually don't have an terminal here. And that's the hard truth. So the Shelly 1 Mini requires a neutral wire to run. So this is it here. And the problem, unlike some specialized smart switches that can bleed a tiny amount of power through the light bulb to stay alive, the Shelly's internal Wi-Fi chip needs a continuous direct connection to both line and neutral, live and neutral. And if you connect only live feed and the switch wire, the device simply will not boot up. So before you touch a single screw, here's how to check. Option A is just to look inside of your switch box. If you only see 2 wires connected to the switch, usually brown and blue, or red and black, that blue wire is likely a switch or switched live, not a neutral. Option B is actually to test it properly with a multimeter like this one here. And if you don't have a neutral live at the switch, actually, you have 3 actual options. And the first option is actually to pay an electrician to pull a neutral wire down from the light fixture. Or if you're an electrician, you can pull it yourself. The second one is to install a Shelly directly at the light ceiling rows instead of being behind the wall switch. So where a neutral is always preset. So you have it at the light ceiling rows, and there is a live and neutral coming from a different part. So look, the third option is actually to look into a new neutral alternative relay instead. So that's actually a Shelly 1L or 2L, and from Sonoff there are some as well. So look at those if you don't have a live neutral inside of your box here. So do not try to force it actually, and never wire the neutral terminal to the ground wire just to make it turn on. That's a massive safety hazard and will trip your RCD every single time. So mistake number 3 is reading the box saying 8 amps like this and assuming that you can plug an 8 amp heater straight into this tiny relay. Do that and you'll weld the internal relay contacts shut in a matter of days. And let's see something here. I'm going to show you some math here. Let's look at the actual numbers here. So at 230 volts, 30 volts, an 8 amp resistive load here. So at 8 amp resistive load, load equals roughly, let's see, it's about 1,840 watts. So 230, just let me fix it, 230 volts at 8 amp is taking roughly 1,840 watts. So that's what you can use here for this device. And if you are switching pure resistive loads like a basic incandescent bulbs, you're safe up to that limit. Then we have different types like motors, LEDs, LEDs, heaters, but almost nothing in the modern home is purely resistive. Keep that in mind. So LEDs have a massive inrush current. When turned on, a bank of LEDs can pull 10 to 20 times their running wattage. So 10 to 20 times their running wattage for a split second. A good rule of thumb for LED lightings is to stay under 200 watts for this in total. So 200 watts for this device here. And that's like enough. So motor and inductive loads. We have fans, pumps, and fridge compressors that push heavy voltage spikes back into the relay when turned off. For motors, limit the Shelly 1 Mini to no more than 100 to 150 watts. So motors for this device, 100 to 150 watts. So this is for motors and Shelly 1 Mini. If you need to switch heavy load, like 3000 watt immersion heater or heavy pool pump, do not wire directly to the Shelly. Instead, let the Shelly switch cheap 16 amp or 25 amp contactor, and let the contactor handle the heavy current. So let me show you that. So actually, if you don't know what is contactor, this is an electrically controlled heavy-duty switch used for turning high-power electrical circuits on and off. It allows a low-voltage signal like 24 volts to safely control large devices such as an electric motors, commercial lighting, and heating, ventilation, AC systems, without exposing operators to dangerous high-voltage currents. And yeah, using this, we like to handle the contactor, handle the heavy current, and the Shelly stays cool, safe, and happy. So how the contactor looks like. So these are some of the contactors that you can see here. And going back on the screen. So let's see the mistake number 4. It happens when physically stuffing everything back into the wall. So the Mini is small, but space runs out fast. So first thing here is, if you pull a lot of thing here, is that relays generate heat, especially when switching active loads. If you cram a Shelly into a shallow 25mm wall box packed with dense wires right behind an insulated faceplate, that heat has nowhere to go. So give it space or upgrade to a D47mm back box. Second, the antenna. The tiny trace antenna is built directly onto the PCB inside of the casing. If you press that side of the Shelly flush against a metal backbox or bundled thick copper wires, your Wi-Fi signal will drop. Keep the flat antenna face for the room actually. And the third, terminal torque and switch voltage. The terminals on the Mini series are small, and over-tightening them will snap the tiny internal solder pads right off the board. You have to use a precision screwdriver like this one and snag them firmly. Don't muscle them. And finally, the switch terminal is live. It operates at main voltage. And if you accidentally bridge the switch wire to a low voltage sensor or touch it while testing with the power on, you will fry the input chip instantly. Always double check your switch voltage with the meter before tucking it away. And mistake number 5 isn't physical, it's in the software. And it's the single setting almost everyone skips until power outage hits 2 a.m. in the morning. So by default, when grid power drops out and comes back on, how does your Shelly behave? Think about it. If you have a Shelly controlling a heater, an aquarium pump, or a fridge, and the power blinks in the middle of the night, the default setting might leave that relay switched off when the power returns. Your freezer thaws and your house freezes. And let's see something in the settings how to prevent that. So let me open the Shelly application. Okay, here it is. In the Shelly app or web UI, navigate immediately to the settings of your device. Let's say we have the lamps here, and go to the settings here. Inside of the settings, we go to the device settings and input-output settings here. So when we have some options here in the set relay power on default. So the first option here is the on, and automatically energizes the relay whenever power is restored. So this is crucial for fridges or circulation pumps. So you always want to have it on when the power gets back. The second is off, the turn off actually. It keeps it off until you explicitly command it. So this is great for outdoor flood lights. And we have the third one that I'm using here, that is restore last state. So this sets the switch back to the whatever state it was before the outage. And this is best for general lighting. And the fourth looks like the physical position on the wall switch to determine the state. And while you are in those settings, make sure to set your button type correctly. So we have different types here. So if you're using a standard rocker switch, set it to the toggle. If you're using a spring-loaded push button, set it to the momentary. Getting this wrong makes the wall switch feel sluggish or unresponsive. Okay, and this is it regarding the settings and this part here. And now that you know how to avoid frying your device, how to manage your loads, and switch software settings to change, the next step is getting the actual wiring right for your specific setup. Click the video on the screen right now to watch our step-by-step Shelly 1 Mini Gen3 wiring guide, where we walk through every single wiring diagram for single switches and low voltage circuits. And if you like the video, thanks for watching, and I'll see you over in the next one there. Bye.